Glam Girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty enthusiast and consultant who loves to talk about everything dealing with beauty and makeup, and today I had a few videos I could have posted today and you guys wanted to see the new GOSS collection. His cream foundation, his powder, and his new powder puff all in action, and so that's what we're doing today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it, and let's get right into this video. If you are new to any of my foundation reviews, let me give you a couple of high points as to what you can expect in this video. Number one, we will of course be doing a wear test that will be at least 8 hours long. Number two, you will be seeing these foundations because I am wearing two in all types of lighting, natural in my studio lighting, outside, and in flash photography. And then of course, I will be sharing with you my final thoughts and if I believe that these products are worth your buy. So let's get into it. So GOSS has come out with his first ever set of complexion products. I picked up two of the luxury cream foundations, the one translucent powder that he has, and then also his powder puff. Sorry, it's dirty. I have been using it. So with the foundations, I did watch GOSS's reveal video because I always love to watch a reveal video if possible to really get the best information that I can about the product, how to use it, you know, all the ins and outs so that I can share it with you. So Wayne says that he decided to come out with 12 shades, and anytime he comes out with any of his products, he always does reiterate that he is completely self-funded. He does not have any investors, so all of the products that he creates, the funding for that comes out of his pocket. So that's why he justifies the limited shade range. But he does hope that he can expand the shade range in the future. But the 12 shades that you do see here on the screen are the 12 shades that he does currently have. GOSS is only sold at Beautylish, and Beautylish does ship internationally, which is great. So he decided to number his foundations in the inverse order. So shade 12 is the lightest and shade 1 is the deepest. And I did pick up shades 4 and 6. So you'll of course see this in the demonstration. I will show you me applying both. So first off, with the outer packaging, I love his outer packaging. It's very sleek and simple. So it has the luxury foundation here, the luxury cream foundation right along here. And then we see GOSS on the cap. Sorry for all of the fingerprints. And then when you do open up, the product looks like so. This is shade 4, and this is what the back of the cream foundation looks like. It does have 28.3 grams of product, or 1 fluid ounce of product, which I think is a really good amount for a cream foundation, because if you know creams, you know you don't need to use a lot of them. And this is what shade 6 looks like. So Wayne describes his foundation as a smooth, seamless skin that is yours with the new GOSS First Ever Foundation. The Luxury Cream Foundation is a classic cream formula that glides on like silk, delivering buildable coverage with a satin finish that looks, feels, and wears just like real beautiful skin, no matter your age. And if you don't know, GOSS always creates his products so that it will look great on mature skin. And his belief is that if it looks great on mature skin, it's definitely gonna look great on younger looking skin. It says for applying the cream foundation that you do want to use his sponge. So his sponge is a silicone-based sponge, and it comes in this packaging here. So it's called the Smooth and Set, the Poreless Beauty Puff, and it has two sides. So this front side right here is going to be the smooth side that you would apply powder with, and then this back portion here, I just flipped it around, is going to be the textured side. And he says that this is the best side to apply the cream foundation with. He calls it the velour side, I believe. And so it says, for the smoothest finish, apply with the GOSS Poreless Beauty Puff using downward strokes, and watch as pores, lines, and texture melt away. For a dewier look, pat in with a damp makeup sponge. And it says, thanks to the high pigment formula, a little does go a long way. It's easy to sheer out or layer up to achieve the perfect level of coverage. So, and it also says that you can lastly customize your shade. So the lightest shade, which is shade 12, is a very, very, very fair shade. It's almost white. It's not completely white, but it's very fair shade. So you can mix and match the shades so that you can get the shade that will work for you. And like I said, for me, shades 4 and 6, I was able to make work. So I would say that for most complexions, especially if you do have a complexion that falls in that kind of medium to, I would say, deep complexion, you're probably going to need to purchase 2 foundations just so that you can get the shade that works for you. So he says that I love cream foundations and I wanted to create one that sits well on the skin for all ages. It goes on incredibly smooth for the most beautiful poreless finish. So just to give you the descriptions of the shades that I picked up, each foundation does retail for $38, and shade 6, which this is shade 6, it is described for medium with a neutral warm undertone. And for me, I feel like shade 6, I see more of the cooler side of this neutral tone. I do think that this is a more neutral foundation, but against my complexion, I do see more of the neutral pinky tones in it than I do see the warmer neutral tones. So for this shade, it actually works really good in my T-zone because I typically am gonna go a little lighter in the T-zone and under my eyes. So that's where I concentrated this shade. And for the perimeter, I went in with shade 4. Shade 4 is said to be a deep skin tone with neutral undertones. And for me, I feel like shade 4 looks more red. I see more red and more warmth from this particular shade. So it doesn't look as neutral to me. It looks more reddish, more warm in its undertone. So mixing both of them together, I feel like my shade definitely is in between these 2 shades. And in terms of where I applied it, I applied shade 4, basically almost like a bronzer, but then I did bring it in to mix it into the shade 6 because to me, shade 6 looked a little too stark, and especially along my chin, I needed some warmth down there. So I just kind of took shade 4 and blended it all in, and if I could say, really left like this area with shade 6 and just blended in the 2 shades once I got like around this portion of my cheeks, this portion of my jawline. You even saw me take some of the foundation and outline my lips because I felt like they looked a little pale. So I really made sure to hone in shade 6 on the areas of my face that I felt like needed some depth and dimension, and I felt like I was really able to make it work. So I did go in with his velour puff, and I went in with the textured side, and after a few strokes, I was like, I don't know if I like this. I tried to apply pressure because he did say apply pressure and stroke down, and I felt like, especially around my mouth area, I just felt like I saw more streaking than I liked, and it was taking a while to blend in the product. So I went in with this brush, which I forgot the name of the brush. I did order it off of Few Day Beauty, so I'll just leave the name of the brush here on the screen, and I'll link it down below too. But I love this brush to apply both of the foundations. I like it because it's small and petite, so I felt like I could get it to fit right into the grooves of my face, and there's enough density with the hairs to really make the product blend into the skin. And I really enjoyed the finish of both of the foundations using this brush. So for me, I will use the brush again just to make sure, it doesn't work, but off of first impressions and how I felt it was blending in the product, I didn't feel like it pushed the product into my liking. As an FYI, I didn't apply any primer on my face. I just had my skincare before I applied both of the foundations. I do feel like the finished effect was so pretty. I wouldn't say for me that the foundation is pore blurring, but I do feel like the foundations both look quite beautiful and perfecting on the skin. So I would use a pore filling primer when I wear these foundations again, but they didn't emphasize pores. They didn't emphasize fine lines. Like I have a nice fine line sitting right here, and I don't feel like this fine line has been accentuated at all throughout the day. And I think they look beautiful. So I took these foundations, of course, into natural lighting. Both sides looked really beautiful, and I loved how both of the shades looked blended onto the skin. Took them outside once again. I thought everything looked quite nice and cohesive. And once again, I was just really happy that I was able to make both of these shades work for my complexion. Into flash photography, once again, both foundations look beautiful. There is no flashback with either of these foundations, which is great. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked because I was quite nervous. I was like, first of all, are these shades gonna work for me? And then two, like, you know, what is this gonna look like on the skin? With cream foundations, I do have a few and they tend to be heavier looking, very full coverage, and somewhat cakey on the face. They can go there very quickly, and I feel like GOSS's formula does not do this. I feel like if you were to use a brush or the sponge, you can get pretty good coverage. I would say you could get a nice medium full coverage, and you could build up to that. I don't know if we can get like full on, like, you know, tattoo full coverage. Like, I don't believe that this foundation will cover my freckles, but I do think we can get a really nice medium full type of coverage with either a brush or his sponge, because you can really build on the foundation and like pack it on if needed. I feel like I have a nice medium coverage on the face, and that's where I left it because I didn't want to add too much and then it just be too much, you know? So yeah, I was really happy, and I really agree. This is a nice, beautiful satin finish that it does leave on the skin. So I would definitely say that depending on, you know, how long you wanted these foundations to last, you would want to go ahead and set the foundations, because since they're a cream formula, they don't tend to be the type of formula that's just gonna, you know, dry down on their own. They're gonna always remain a little tacky. That's just kind of the nature of cream foundations, and this one, you know, follows suit. So I then went in with the powder. I totally forgot to put on concealer today, so I have no concealer on, just the foundations on my face, but it worked out because, you know, I feel like I still have a little bit of dimension with the face. So I wanted to compare two powders, because I saw the translucent powder by GOSS, and just to give you a close-up to what it looks like, this is the weightless powder. It's got GOSS on the cap, if you can see it here. It's a translucent powder, so any skin complexion can use it, and we get a total of 25 grams or 0.88 ounces of product. It does retail for $28, and GOSS says that this is going to be an invisible loose powder that sets foundation with a velvet matte finish. It does have mica in its formulation, and so it says that your search for the perfect setting powder ends here. This invisible loose powder from GOSS looks and feels like nothing on the skin. Free of talc and pigment, the weightless powder blurs the look of pores and blemishes while imparting a velvet matte finish to the skin, all without caking or adding unwanted texture. He says, for best results, pick up a small amount of powder with the velour side of the Poreless Beauty Puff. Tap on any excess powder and gently pat onto the skin. And so what I did was I first went in with his smooth side. I didn't go in with the velour side, and maybe that's the problem with what I'm about to say next. I felt like the powder didn't like blend and sink into the skin with his powder puff. So, and when you saw the flash, or when you see the flash photography test, I feel like you can see the powders like just sitting right here on my face. So I went in with the cheek and highlight brush from Chikahodo, and I thought this blended the powders in beautifully. And I will say this powder definitely is most blurring of the pores. Like even now, this face I've had on now for over 9 hours, and I really feel like you can definitely still not really see my pores at all. So I would agree that I feel like this powder is definitely blurring. I would also agree that it is very weightless. Like this powder literally is like air. If you just go, I don't know if you could see that, but like it just literally dissipates into the air. So the texture of it is so fine and light. So I immediately thought of Danessa Myricks and her Evolution powder, because hers is light as air. The texture of both of these powders feel quite the same. And I just, you know, if I can compare products, I'm gonna give you a comparison. So this is what the Evolution powder looks like from Danessa Myricks. I have it in the shade 02, so it does have some pigment to it, but it's still a translucent powder. So I put that on this side of the face, and upon immediate application, I thought both sides look really beautiful. They honestly look the same. They felt the same too, like literally felt like velvety, soft, and smooth. And they set both sides of my face without taking away like the life in my face. I didn't feel like either side of my face looked dry, it looked dull, it just looked like it set the face. So I will say that, like I said, I used the puff, GOSS puff, and I felt like once again, like you just saw the powder sitting on both sides of the face. So I also went in with this brush with the Evolution powder to further blend it into the skin, and I did like the brush application better. So this puff is $10, and right off the back, I'm gonna say I don't think you need the puff. You can either use one of your puffs, or I would say for the foundation, go in with either a sponge or a brush, like whatever your preferred method of application is. Just off of my initial use, I would say go in with that versus the puff. It's $10, so if you want to use it, by all means, go ahead and give it a try. I don't think it's a bad puff, and I would definitely use it. Like I'll try using the velour side with powder because I didn't use that, but just with what I did use, I don't really think it's going to be one of my favorite puffs. Unless it's with like the Dior no powder one that you really do kind of need a powder puff to, you know, press it into the skin. Okay, so when I got ready this morning for work, I was rushing. Like all I had time to do was throw in a little brow pomade, put the powders and the foundation on my face, and that was it. So I'm gonna insert a clip showing you what the foundations looked like around the about 4 or 5 hour mark, and then I'm gonna come back and share with you my thoughts because we're now really at the end of the day. I wanted to show you what everything looks like. I've had both of these foundations on for over 5 hours at this point, and so I'll come in a little closer so you can see what everything is looking like. So remember, on this side of the face I have the GOSS powder, and then on this side of the face I have the Danessa Myricks Evolution powder. I do feel like, because I was looking at my nose, and like if I come in close, like right along here, I do feel like around my nose does look a little dry and not cakey per se, but it just like right around here, I think it just, well, that does look cakey. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, that does look cakey. And I wonder if it's because I initially applied, well, no, because I was gonna say, I wonder if it was because I initially applied the foundation here with the sponge. I do see, you know, a little bit of caking around my nose, like right along here. But other than that, I think the foundation is holding up pretty nicely. It's looking pretty good. So wanted you all to see what it looks like at this point of the day. Sorry about that light, because by the time I do like my intro and all of that, I'll have more makeup on and I would be already at the end of the day. So just wanted to give you all just a little bit of a check-in, show you what things are looking like. Feels very lightweight at this point. All I have on my face are a little bit of brow pomade, the foundations, and powder. I didn't even put on concealer. I was legit rushing this morning. So like it doesn't feel like I have anything on my face, and I feel like both powders are working really nicely to like control my oils, even though I don't really have a lot of oils producing on my face. But you know, cream foundations tend to be more oily, and I feel like both of the powders are looking really nicely on the face and helping to kind of control the oils from the powder, from the foundation. So far so good. I'll check in at the end of the day and let you know my final thoughts. So stay tuned. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I've had this face on now for a little over 9 hours, and I'm gonna come in close and share with you what we're looking like. So I did not touch up my face at all. All I did when I came home was added a little bit more of shade 4, the darker foundation, because I felt like it had worn away because I took a nap. I was tired, and I slept mainly on this side of the face, so I just added more of shade 4 around the perimeter, which it went on really nicely, and you don't see any skipping where the powder was or where the foundation is. And I think everything looks nice. We definitely saw at the 5 hour mark that we had some caking around the nose, and we still see that here. I would say more on this side than we do see on this side. So I'm not too sure why it's caking. I don't know if it's caking because it just gathers around my nose. That's what I'll be able to let you know after wearing this a couple more times, just to figure out the wear of it. I don't know if it's caking because of the powders. Not really sure yet, but I do see some caking around my nose. It's not terrible, but it's there. I don't think you see it from afar, but you definitely see it up close. I did have some of the foundation wearing away on my nose, and we did see that at the 5 hour mark, and I did eat, and I see just a little bit of like gathering of the foundation right along here. So those are areas that we do see some of the wear of the foundation. So I would say that this foundation wears really nicely, really beautifully, for a strong, I would say, maybe like a good 5 or 6 hours before it might start wearing away, especially on those areas of the face where foundation typically wears away for you. So for me, it's always my chin because I'm always touching on my chin. Usually foundation stays pretty well around my nose, but I don't put a lot of foundation on my nose, so I'm going to assume that that's why it might have worn off a little bit on my nose. I usually don't have foundation gathering around the corners of my nose, so I will keep you updated with that because I kind of feel like that's not the norm for me. So it might be something. It might be the foundation or it might be something else. So considering we had a couple of new variables with the powders and the foundation, I'm not gonna like blame the foundation or powders until I know for sure that that is that. So at the end of the day, I really like how my face looks. I think it looks beautiful. And I feel like this could be a foundation that you could use to touch up with. Like for instance, I touched up around the perimeter of my face and it's a little sticky where I added more of the foundation, but it wasn't so sticky and emollient that I felt like it would have picked up the powder that has been laid down. I'm gonna try, for, goodness sake, we're gonna try to add some more of the foundation around my nose. So I'm gonna take shade 6 and just tap some of that here. And I think that looks nice. And see if I can just blend it in this way. Yeah, so it seems like you can like build upon this foundation if needed. And depending on what you're doing for the day, this might be a viable option for you. Like if you were needing to touch up your makeup and you were on the go, it looks like you could potentially do this because it's not too emollient. Yeah. I think we were able to touch up both sides of my nose pretty nicely. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comment section. I think that this had really good wear, and I was also very impressed that both powders, I think, held up very well throughout the day and really kept my oils at bay without suffocating my sebaceous glands and making them want to produce more oil. So I don't feel like I have like an oily T-zone or anything like that. Both of the powders were very, very weightless and very light and airy, but they did set and hold the makeup. And I was very impressed by both of the powders. I mean, I've used this powder before. It's not a new one for me. But comparing it to the Wayne Goss, I feel like the powders are almost identical. Major difference between the two are gonna be price. Danessa's, I think, Danessa's is either, hers is between 28 and 38. Wayne's is 28. Danessa's has different shades. Wayne Goss has just the standard translucent powder. So I think if you have Danessa's, you don't need Wayne Goss's unless you just want to try it. If you love the brand and love his products, I would recommend it for sure. I think it's a beautiful powder. I most definitely will be using the powder in the future. And then with the foundation, so I am surprised at how much I do like them. I wasn't sure how I was gonna like these foundations, and it was primarily because of shade. I knew Wayne Goss was gonna deliver formula-wise. There has not been one Wayne Goss product that I have tried that I have not liked. I thoroughly love the brand. However, I must admit, I was a little disappointed in a couple of things. Number one, I do feel like that with the shades that Wayne Goss did choose, he could have taken out some of the lighter shades and maybe added just some more shades. Like instead of the 12 that he chose, taken like the first, I wanna say shades 12 down to shades 4. He could have taken out some shades and added some more deeper shades, so we really could have had a nicer transition of shades. I think he did very well with shades 1 through 3. Like those shades look quite nice. We see depth there, and I think we see different undertones, like cooler undertones, neutral, and so on. And then you have a jump to shade 4. a jump to shade 5 and 6, and then we just have an array of lighter shades. So I totally understand him having to be self-funded, but I would have liked to see a few more shades in between. So taking out some and, you know, just adding another shade. So not expanding the shade range, but just doing more with the shade range. I also wish, and I was so looking forward to this, Wayne always has models in his reveal videos. And I was like, yes, I know I'm gonna see some models in here that are gonna really help me to figure out my shade. And he had no models in his reveal video. And I really also wish he would have done swatches for us and shown us how to mix and match the shades so that, you know, we could see what we could do. I did purchase these products myself, and so I had to rely on the website and just like taking a guess to see which shades worked for me. But I think it would have been so amazing and so helpful and beneficial if Wayne would have swatched each one of the shades on his arm, and then, you know, as the artist and the creator of the brand said, hey, if you fall around this category, take this shade and this shade, boom, this might be a shade for you. Because being that they're $38 a piece, if you buy luxury foundations, this is the cost of one luxury foundation, $76. So for me, I don't mind spending the money when I already know the formula is gonna be spectacular. And honestly, Wayne did not disappoint. This formula is beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. He did not disappoint on the formulation. And in my opinion, if you were really interested in his foundations, I do think it is worth the price of 2 foundations to get the shade that you want. So I just wish he would have done those things to make it a little easier for us, the consumer, to pick out shades that could work for us. Because if you're not good at foundation choosing and you don't know your shade and undertone, you know, trying to figure out what shade could work for you is so cumbersome by itself. And so that just would have been really helpful. So, you know, Wayne, if you're watching this, like, I would have loved for that to happen. You know, that's something that he always does. So I just was so looking forward to that portion of the video. And so I would definitely recommend that if, you know, he were to come out with any more complexion products. Like, please give us some swatches and some shade combinations so that we, the consumer, can make the best choices for ourselves. Because if you're like me and you love Wayne Goss, like, you're gonna buy it, you know? So it's like, I'm gonna buy this regardless. You know, it just would have been great to have that process be a little bit more seamless. But all in all, I truly do enjoy this and I highly recommend it. He does have a set on a beauty list where you can buy the cream luxury foundation, the powder, and the powder puff for $76. And I know that some of his foundation shades are already sold out, so maybe consider getting the set, especially if you were interested in the powder and the foundation. If you're planning on getting the powder and the foundation and they're out of your actual foundation shade, it might just be better just to go ahead and get the set, which is $76. And if you're gonna get the powder and the foundation, that's $66, I believe. But that, I did see that all of the shades in this set were still in stock. So I'll leave all of the links down below to where you can check out any and all of these products. All of the other makeup that I'm wearing on my face will be left down below. And I'm just gonna put in my own shameless plug. If you have issues with finding your own foundation, I am a beauty consultant. You can go to my website, GlamGirlChelsea.com. Go to my website, book a consult with me, and I will be more than happy to help you figure out your foundation shade, not just with Wayne Goss, but across the board. Adding my own little shameless plug. Definitely let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the foundations and the powder and the puff? Have you tried these products? Are you interested in the products? Leave all feedback down below in the comment section. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.